morning from Semuc Champey, or Semuc Champey, in Guatemala. We're about an 8-hour drive from Guatemala City, in this beautiful national park of sorts, visiting the world famous limestone pools. And it was a fantastic but tiring 8-hour ride from Guatemala City to Lanquin, and from Lanquin to where we're staying in Semuc Champey. And now we're inside the national park today, and it's a 50 quetzales fee to pay to get in per person, which is about 6 euros, and that gets you in all day up till 4 o'clock last entry, and you can come in and out as much as you want. So one of the advantages of staying close by, which is like 10 minutes walk from here, is that you can come here early in the morning. The park opens around 8 o'clock, and you can be the first ones in before the big tour companies come. And there's two parts of the park that you can visit. One is the mirador, or the viewpoint. It's about a 30 to 45 minute walk up. It's not a difficult walk, but it's not an easy walk either. It's definitely a lot of steps, and uneven steps and stone steps, and it's a bit slippery. Definitely cannot do it with flip-flops. You can do it with shoes and some hiking sandals or hiking boots if you want. If you can't do steps, it's not a good way. But if you're not fit, you can take a lot of breaks and you can still get it. Get to the top. The views on top are really nice. You can see the whole set of pools and the waterfall. But also, if you can't do it, don't worry. I mean, the pools are pretty nice. So the advantage, you can come do the viewpoint, which takes about an hour and a half total, up and down photos. And then you can hit the water, and by the time you hit the water, it's going to get a little crowded. Alright, welcome to day 2 at Semuc Champey, and it's a glorious day. Just look around you how beautiful it is. And like suggested, 2 days over here is definitely a good idea. We got here right in the morning, first people in the pools actually, even though it was 9 o'clock. And yesterday we went to 2 different pools, the first one and the third one. The second one, which is in the middle, we hadn't come to. And what really happens is, if you enter directly from the entrance, you don't go to the mirador, you'll go to the first pool. If you go to the mirador and you come down the other way, because the mirador is like a circuit, you don't come down the same way you go up. You go around, and then you come to what is this pool, which is the third pool. And the third pool is quite nice. It's usually more busy because here everybody tends to come down after they see the mirador or the viewpoint. They don't realize that you can go 2 different pools down, and that has better entrance, and it's easier to get into those pools as well than this pool. But this pool tends to be more crowded. So this is pool number 3, which is the closest to the mirador, furthest from the entrance. The pool number 3 also has lockers, but you need to bring your own padlock. Not all of them are in great condition, but you know, you can get at least 10-12 of them working. So if you need a locker, make sure you go put your padlock so you have a locker. We didn't really need it. We just put stuff out here. And as the day goes on, if the sun is shining, the pool will get warmer. The pools are very slippery, but they're not deep at all, so you're not going to drown here. I'm pretty sure they put gravel at the bottom to make sure that the pools were walkable level, but they're slippery as hell, so you better be careful. There's also really good near pool number 1, which is the closest to the entrance. There's a great changing facility, so you can change there. There's toilets at the entrance, there's toilets next to the changing facility, and then there's toilets just as you're coming down from the top, from the mirador. And then you're coming down from the mirador, there's also a lady who sits there, and she sells mangoes and watermelon and coconut water, and water as well. So if you're running low, make sure you get some of that over there. The mangoes are delicious. 10 Qs, expensive but very delicious after a hike. And that's it. I mean, enjoy the pools. The pools are really nice. The fish are great at coming and nibbling your feet. And if you come in the afternoon, you'll get people jumping in the pool and stuff like that. So you gotta be, prepared for that. But there's plenty of pools to go around. So here are some things that you need to take into account if you're going to Semuc Champey. Okay, everybody who comes to Guatemala will eventually end up going there, and here are some of the things that you need to know, some of the mistakes that you might make that we don't want you to make, and we're talking from experience. So number one, connectivity and the internet. Only Tigo as the service provider works in Semuc Champey, in the whole area. So if you're looking to go there and you're looking to stay there and you want to stay connected, make sure you pick up a Tigo SIM card, not a Claro SIM card, if you want to stay connected. And if you're getting into Guatemala City, most of the shops in Guatemala City will not sell you a prepaid SIM card because they need your passport or ID copy to basically onboard you. And so you need to go to some kind of a official Tigo shop, which will normally close at about 5 o'clock. So if you're coming in a late flight like we did, you'll probably miss some of the shops. So the only way you can get a SIM card before you go to Semuc Champey is to get one from one of the malls, and the shops in the malls, they'll stay open till 8 o'clock sharp. So our recommendation is the first thing you do in Guatemala City, if you already don't have connectivity, or if you have connectivity and it's not on Tigo and you want to be connected, is to go to one of these malls, take your passport with you, and for anywhere between 30 to 50 quetzales, you can get connected for your whole trip to Semuc Champey. Right, it's super important because a lot of the hostels there, even though they'll advertise Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi is essentially coming from this one 4G tower, and it's actually not that good. So you can argue whether your SIM card is going to be better or the Wi-Fi, but the advantage of you having a Wi-Fi or having your own SIM card is that you'll connect to the tower directly, and you'll be able to have a little bit more control on the quality that you have. So that's super important. Secondly, the shuttles. To go from Guatemala City to Semuc Champey, you need to go to Lanquin, and from Lanquin you need to arrange some kind of a small shuttle if you're staying in Semuc Champey. And if you're not staying in Semuc Champey, then you'll be probably staying in Lanquin, and then you'll be okay. But at least our experience was that there's only one company that runs the shuttle from Guatemala City, which actually comes from Antigua. So it comes from Antigua to Guatemala City. From Guatemala City, it goes to Lanquin, and that company is Coban Travels. And depending on where you book it from, you can get the different pricing. So we booked it through our travel agent, and it was, I think, 250 quetzales per person to Lanquin. And there are some people who bought it for 350 quetzales directly from Coban Travels as well. And then there were some people who booked through a hostel whom in Semuc Champey, and they managed to get the whole trip from Guatemala City to Lanquin, and from Lanquin to their hostel for 250 quetzales. So the pricing varies, and you might go with one online website or another online website, but in the end it's going to be Coban Travels that's going to be taking you pretty much in their shuttles. And they're pretty good minibuses. They're really comfortable. The drivers are really nice, and they will make multiple stops in Guatemala City. They'll pick you up from a McDonald's just outside in one of the outskirts of Guatemala City. Well, it's outskirts, not in the center, so it's easy to pick up. And then they will stop at least 2 or maybe 3 times, and they will definitely stop one place for food where you will have a McDonald's, fried chicken, all these different options, so don't worry about it. You will also stop at small petrol stations where they will have cash machines. So if you haven't taken out cash, and cash is going to be king for your time in Semuc Champey and in Lanquin, you make sure that you take some cash. A lot of the hostels, any of the services that you take from their food, etc., will all be in cash. So make sure you take out enough cash. Your bags, if you have backpacks, great job. If you have carry-on bags, then it's going to be quite difficult for you to kind of carry them all around when you get to Semuc Champey or when you get to Lanquin. But anyway, all the bags go on the top of the bus, so be prepared for that. The third thing, the time that you need to spend there. So most people go there only for the 1 day or the 2 nights, so they get to Semuc Champey by 5 p.m. If they're going to Lanquin, they'll arrange some kind of a transfer from Lanquin to Semuc Champey, and they will get to Semuc Champey by 5-6 p.m. and then they can't really do much on that day. You just have dinner, you sleep, and then next day you go to the pools, and then you're done with the pools, and day after you take the coach back or the shuttle back to Guatemala City or to Antigua or to wherever you're going. Now that's usually what most people do. It's a fine plan, but we feel like it really doesn't do justice to the time that you have there, especially if you can manage to stay at Semuc Champey and not stay in Lanquin. Because when you're at Semuc Champey, you're literally, most of the hostels are either a 5-minute or a 10-minute walk, or like a less than 5-minute tuk-tuk ride. And having that flexibility of being there at 8 o'clock in the morning, just when the place opens, and being able to have the pools to yourself is fantastic. So our recommendation is to do at least 2 days there, and that means 3 nights. And then what you do the first day, you can just chill. First night when you get to Semuc Champey, just chill, have dinner, meet people that you're staying with. Next day morning, get to Semuc Champey, do the Mirador, which is a decent climb. Takes about 45 minutes, great views, and then come down to the pools and spend the day in the pools. Go for some lunch. The ticket that you buy lets you come in and out of the park as many times during that day, with the last entry being at 4 o'clock, and then you can enjoy the pools like that. And then because there are multiple pools, there are at least 5 or 6 or 8 pools that you can make your way to. So our recommendation is then to have that night, relax, and then the next day, which is going to be our extra bonus day, go straight to the pools. Get to the pools at 8:30, watch the sun come out, move from pool to pool. Some of the pools are deeper, some of them are shallower, some of them have like limestone slides, some of them have other stuff, and you can do a lot of this stuff, cool stuff, and it's a lot of fun, and you can just relax. Now this brings us to the stay. Now if you're staying in Lanquin, I don't really know of the hostels and the accommodation there, but in Semuc Champey, be prepared for basic electricity, basic water, very little connectivity. So it's going to be really, it's an interesting experience to go to complete raw level of living, but it's fun. And if you're only doing it for like 3 nights and 2 days, it's not really that bad. It's a lot of fun. It's really beautiful at night. You can see the stars, you can see beauty around you. Well, we stayed in an Airbnb 5 minutes walk from Semuc Champey, which was really nice. We stayed in a tree house. For what we paid for 3 nights, 2 days, it was actually quite nice. So for stay, you have multiple options. You have hostels around there. Try and stay in a hostel, which means that you need to get from Lanquin to that hostel in Semuc Champey, which is roughly between a 30 to 40 minute drive. And you can make this shuttle. Either you can book it directly through your hostel, or you can actually ask your hostel to book you a private 4x4, which will cost you about 150 quetzales each way. And it doesn't matter how many people are there if you're taking a private van. Per person, if you do a collectivo, which is basically there'll be 4x4 there, and you can, once you get there, you can say, hey, this is my hostel, and they'll normally charge you about 4 USD or about 30 to 40 quetzales to get you to your hostel. And from Lanquin to Semuc Champey is quite reliable, because most of these drivers are from Lanquin, and they'll be there and they'll take you to Semuc Champey. The problem is, when you want to go back, you're going to have to go from Semuc Champey to Lanquin, and the shuttle in the morning from Lanquin, most shuttles departing to various destinations depart around 8 o'clock. So you need to be able to get to Lanquin at 8 o'clock, and at that point, some of these transfer guys might not be reliable. So try and then book either directly through your hostel. If not, you can also go to Gringos or to Utopia hostels. They have their own vans, and if you're living close to them, you can request them. You pay the full money, you get a ticket, and they will then accommodate you on their shuttles to Lanquin. The last thing is the food and drink in Semuc Champey, and this is quite interesting because if you're staying there for 3 days, you're going to have at least 2 or 3 dinners, 2 or 3 breakfasts, 2 or 3 lunches, and the food is quite, I won't say basic, but it's basic, right? So you have near the park only 2 options. One is just opposite Semuc Champey. You have a bunch of locals doing barbecues. You have one that you cross the bridge towards the Lanquin side, so about 5 minutes walk from Semuc Champey entrance, and you have a bunch of people over there that do food as well. And then the last option you have is like there's a hotel or restaurant called El Portal, which is near Semuc Champey, and they do food as well. Food was pretty basic throughout. We didn't really like the food on the other side of the bridge, They were very pushy and very aggressive, and they always wanted you to buy something or the other, and the food was mediocre, so to speak. So we wouldn't recommend that. The best thing that you can do is, for example, our hostel, we managed to agree to get breakfast and dinner paid for over there. So it was really good because in the morning you would wake up, you don't have to think about breakfast, you just come, it's family style breakfast, everybody has whatever the food is made, eggs, pancakes, and then you're good to go. Then you go to the pool, and then after the pool, we tried 2 different spots. We tried a place called Casa Sahil where we had to take a tuk-tuk, which was really good food, great quesadillas, great tacos by the river. You can't walk there, you have to take some kind of a tuk-tuk or transfer there, but definitely recommend it. Or you can go to El Portal and get burgers and fries over there. Usually they have some big groups that go there. So if you're lucky, when there's a big group there, you'll get good fresh food. And then the last option is, of course, if you want to get barbecue and local food, then it's better to go towards the ones that are right in front of Semuc Champey, the locals from Semuc Champey, and they will do a barbecue every day. So I would recommend that. And then finally, if you nothing else, then go towards the one that are opposite to the bridge. And then you get what you get over there. Your host or your if you depending on how big your hostel is, may or may not let you use the fridge. Our hosts were very kind. They, we had some snacks. They let us put it in the fridge. And another thing about the food is a lot of hostels will not let you get your own food, and you can take it aggressively and think that, oh, they don't want you to eat your own food, they just want you to buy food. But essentially they don't want you to do that because of the wildlife. You can attract ants and different creepy crawly guys all to your room, and you don't really want that. And that's why our host asked us to put all our food in a bag, and then they kept them in a storage box that we could get access to whenever we wanted. And a bonus tip, go do the local Mayan chocolate making tour if your host offers it. Not if it's like a commercial one, but there are these Mayan houses over there. They have their own cocoa plants, and they will actually pick their cocoa plants. They will show you how they dry them. They will also make you make the chocolate, which is fantastic because you realize how much hard work goes into making these chocolates, and you can decide what kind of flavor you want. You want cardamom, you want chili, you want ginger, you want cinnamon, you want milk, and they will help you make this chocolate. And that's highly recommended. Probably one of the best chocolate tours you will do. And we're kind of like, we've been to Antigua, we've been now in around the lake, and that tour was probably one of the best ones that you can do. And that's it. We hope you enjoy it, and let us know in the comments if there's something that you found that we didn't mention, and we'd love to add that tip as well, because we didn't know a lot of things. We were just lucky we got a Tigo SIM card. We were just lucky we booked our shuttle through who we booked. But if there's something else that you found that we didn't talk about, you want to let people know, put it in the comment, and we'll definitely thank you for that. That's it. Join us for the next video.